Welcome to Elite Outcome Academy. I'm the founder and CEO, Eric Thomas. This is episode 1, and we are going to dive right in. I'm going to talk a little bit about why I created this academy and what it means to me and why I created it. So the reason I created Elite Outcome Academy is I could not find a step-by-step process in order to get myself out of the rut, to get myself out of depression, suicidal ideology, alcohol abuse, you name it, just the plethora of mental health issues that so many of us face. And I got fired up about the idea that ultimately came to be Elite Outcome Academy through being in court-mandated classes for substance abuse and being so frustrated with all of the personal development information that's out there, which is great information, but it's so pie in the sky. What do I do? What do you mean develop a new mindset? What do you mean get up and take action? What does that mean? Like, I can get up and spin in a circle, but that's action, but what am I supposed to do? And I didn't know. And so I allowed my life for years and years to get out of control. And a lot of that stemmed from growing up poor, growing up in very unmanageable situations, different abuses and abandonments and betrayals. Spent several years in complete chaos in what I label the drug world. We'll hear all about that throughout the rest of the episodes. And then through many years of developing and failing in business of all sorts. I'll go through that in following episodes as well. But mostly I created Elite Outcome Academy for a place for people like you, if you're watching this, that were people like me, that I'm still working in this every day. I'm in the trenches every day, redeveloping, rehabbing, and recalibrating my life. And I just am fed up. I'm fed up with what's available for such a huge population of people. So I created Elite Outcome Academy to be a phoenix rising. And I think if I can raise enough individuals that are so incredibly creative, so incredibly intuitive, there's so many intelligent people that are stuck in the grind of poverty, stuck in the grind of day-to-day activities, stuck in their own minds, if you're stuck in your own mind, this is the place to be. Invite your friends to be here as well. So, what's my vision with this academy? My vision is to be able to raise a population of broken people that perceive themselves to be broken, as I did for a long time. See, you're not broken. You're misguided and you're mistreated. I am going to tell you things bluntly. You are mostly misguided and mistreated by yourself. You allow yourself to be in certain situations, certain environments, and be around certain people that allow you to give excuse to being mistreated. They mistreat me. I'm disadvantaged. Whatever it is. Okay? I know that very well. That was my entire life. Being misguided is you see the paths all around you. You might not know how to go down them. This is where I was. I was stuck. I had so many different opportunities that I participated in, all of these thousands and thousands of hours of personal development study through so many different YouTube channels and so many books and all of these things. And I love it so dearly. I do, because you have to get to a certain level where all of that starts to make sense. And I want to close the gap. That's my vision. I want to close the gap between wanting to become better and being able to take the information that's available and utilizing it for your own life. How to do that is through action steps. So I developed Elite Outcome Academy. And I would love for you and for whoever you know that can need this to join me in this phoenix rising out of the ashes, because there's way too many intelligent people that are weighed down by their own situation, weighed down by the communities that they live in, weighed down by not understanding any other options that are available. Going back to the path thing, being misguided, especially with today's age with the internet, it's really easy to see that there's other options, there's other opportunities, there's other ways of life. And those paths are all around us. Unfortunately, it's very difficult to start to walk down a different path. You have to leave people behind. You have to have hard conversations. You have to make tough, scary decisions. You have to. There's no choice in that. But what I'm here to do is to help you make those decisions. What skills you have, what talents you have through your own natural abilities and life experience is why I created Elite Outcome Academy, is to be able to boil all of those things down so that I can help you customize a path for becoming your elite, most wonderful self. So, we're going to dive right in. I'm going to give you a little bit of my story, and we will flesh out greater details about my story in future episodes. But I grew up super poor. I grew up in a household where my mom disappeared for several years when I was very young. I had a younger brother and sister. My dad was working, 12, 14, 16-hour days to keep a roof over our head. We were mostly looked after by teenage cousins. And, sorry, I'm recording this live. I'm going to check my thing here because it made a sound. Okay, good. All right. It was mostly raised by teenage cousins. This led to sexual abuse and smoking cigarettes at 6 years old. This led to so much chaos. I never really had any really real foundation. The best my dad could do was keep a roof over our head. So starting at 5 years old, I had to start creating meals and feeding my brother and sister, all kinds of things. Fast forward to 12 years old. I have an uncle who didn't get to see very often, but I went to spend 2 weeks with him in Seattle, Washington. And he was a pretty well-known psychotherapist. He dealt with hypnotism and all kinds of things. And what I didn't know until my early 20s is that 2 weeks that I spent with him, he had tuned my mind into knowing and understanding people's behaviors, why they behave the way they do, and what those outcomes end up being. So from 12 to, I'd say, about 22, 23, that first decade was just, my eyes were open without knowing they were open to understanding how people behave. Now, from 15 to about the same time where I came to this realization, I left home. Things had kind of settled down. My parents had matured to a degree where things were more stable. My mom and dad, of course, were long time divorced by this point. So two different households. And most of my friends were 18 or 19 years old. They were getting their own apartments, graduating high school. And what that led us into was ultimately what I call the drug world. Because selling drugs, watching drug use, and becoming an alcoholic on my side of things. I never got into hard drug use like most of my friends did. I got into heavy alcoholic consumption. And by the age of 17, I was a full-blown alcoholic. By the age of 19, we were living in trap houses around super heavy drug use, needle, intravenous meth use, heroin use. Lots of people smoking pills and all kinds of things, and which led to mass amounts of violence, mass amounts of, real dark stuff. And then I have spent the last little over a decade really trying to figure out my life. Why did I feel broken? Why was I so depressed? Why was I unable to keep a foundation under my feet? And so I applied the first decade of amateur psychology study to my own life, and to really boiling down and creating theories and hypotheses that allowed me to ultimately pull myself up out of depression and those types of things. As I did, and I got into my mid 20s, 25 to 27, 28, I started to try to figure out business. I had zero idea where to go, zero idea what to do, but I knew I needed to make more money than just minimum wage. So I became a real estate agent with the intent of trying to figure out how to become a real estate investor, which ultimately did happen. And then through that, I had many successes. I helped with dozens and dozens of deals. I was involved in several myself, ended up owning a storage building for several years. And then things started to fall apart again. I was betrayed in business. The amount of money that I was anticipating all got swept out from underneath me. Drinking really took hold again. I'd been sober for several years, and then it all went downhill. By this point, now at 35 years old, from mid to late 20s till 34 years old, I was a complete disaster and a complete mess. So I had to go deep and I had to go intentional in order to create a new frame, to put a foundation underneath my feet, and to build confidence and self-esteem in a way that I had never had. And I started doing it with little micro steps. I started making my bed. I didn't care about the rest of my room. The rest of my room was allowed to be destroyed. It's the very room that I'm recording this episode in. I started to make my bed. And I knew if I could commit to making my bed for such an amount of time, that it would become a habit. And then I theorized that it would trickle out to the rest of my room. Ultimately, it did. And little piece by little piece, I started to put things in order to be able to give myself the confidence to understand that I am allowed to have some structure in my life. Growing up was basically pure anarchy. There was very little guidance, very little positive influence in my life. So, after analyzing my entire life over the last year and really boiling down what is important to me, what the patterns in my life are, what are the things that I'm good at. I'm really, really good at psychology and figuring out how to piece together my life, and along with your life and anybody's life, I can really piece the things together and help create a purpose. And so Elite Outcome Academy is that. It's to create a purpose. So stay tuned. Stay with me. You'll learn so much about me, and I'll tell in-depth stories, and we'll go deep. I offer coaching services, but I do this for free, so that at least if you can take this information and start to utilize it in your life, I am so grateful for that. Because one of the things they talk about in the world of personal development is, what is the thing that you would do for free if you never earned money from it? And this is it. If I never earn money from this, it's okay. I'm very creative now at this point. I have a lot of tools. So I'll figure it out. But I want to share these episodes with you. I want to share my life. I want to share my strategies. And I hope that you can take them and apply them to your own life. There's so many people out there that are wanting better, that crave better, that know they deserve better. And I cracked the code on how to make that happen for you. Stay tuned. Welcome to Elite Outcome Academy. I'll see you on the next episode.